Welcome to Elders Corner. I'm your host, Dr. Ricardo Whyte, and I have the privilege of being the head elder of an awesome congregation. I want to introduce you to some inspiring game changers. These are people who are making awesome contributions both to the congregation and making a huge impact in their communities at large. Join us and learn some inspiring stories. My name is Ricardo Whyte. I'm a first elder here at Mount Rubidoux, and this is the first segment of Elders Corner. What we want to take a moment to do is give people an opportunity to share how it is they succeeded. There's so many myths about success. So I thought it would be awesome for us to take a moment and have AJ kind of take us along his journey in success from growing up here at Mount Rubidoux all the way to graduating and now becoming an executive at Boeing. So AJ, thank you for being here with us.
No problem, no problem.
So AJ, my understanding is you pretty much grew up in this church.
I literally started here. I think my uncle's was a pastor for about 11 years. And I think I was 3, maybe.
His name is?
Mark Woodson.
Okay.
Yeah, I was probably 3 when I first got here. He's the reason we came to the church to begin with. And I've been at this church ever since. So I literally grew up here from as a little kid all the way until now.
Also, your parents are?
Alan and Sylvia Woodson. My dad's a dentist. My mom's a physical therapist. My dad owns his own practice. And my mom does home health, where she just travels with paraplegics. So
I'm sure your dad was looking forward to handing the practice off to you.
Yeah, he's definitely happy for me with the engineering route, but he would be lying if he said he didn't want me to, follow in his footsteps and take over his practice,
So he probably tried to influence you, hey, come work at the practice and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, we used to go into his office when we were younger and work with him, but I don't know, I didn't like being in people's mouths, I guess. So I just would rather, I'm like, can I just be in the office and help with files and stuff? And he's like, yeah, but, I knew younger that dentistry wasn't for me.
So you developed a passion for math?
Oh, yeah. Ever since I was a little kid, even first, second grade, really good at math, always loved it. I would sit and just do math problems all day. And I've always been good at math. I've always gotten A's in math. I don't think I've ever gotten less than an A in any math class before. So, yeah.
Any experiences in particular that stand out in high school? Which high school did you go to?
I went to La Sierra Academy. I was in I guess an advanced math program. In 8th grade, you have a chance to skip to do 9th grade math. And so, as a junior, I was doing, senior level math classes, and I'd actually have to do a math class my senior year. I could have taken college courses, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to be math, but I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing. But if I had known I was going to be an engineer, I would have just taken that class early. It would have given me a jump start. But it all worked out in the end, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
So then, where did you choose to go to after La Sierra?
So I went to Oakwood University. I knew that they had a 3-2 program there, which is basically 3 years at Oakwood and then 2 years at the neighboring school, UH, because I was doing mechanical engineering. And Oakwood doesn't have a specific mechanical engineering degree. So I end up getting 2 degrees with the dual program. I get an applied mathematics degree from Oakwood, and I'd get a mechanical engineering degree from UH, which is the University of Alabama in Huntsville. And so they basically share some of my general education credits, and then I get 2 degrees.
So naturally, you said dad's a dentist and mom is a physical therapist. So this was all a walk in the park for you, right? There were no difficult moments, no tears, no blood, no sweat.
Not even at all. There was so many things that I struggled with. One, for me, I was really having a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do in high school. And I was always talking to my mom, I don't know what I want to do yet. She's like, you have time. And I was just really getting hard on myself, what do I need to do? But I've always had the encouragement from my parents, from both, the entire route. But the road was still really difficult. when I finally got to college, I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. You're still, I decided to move away. I actually wanted to go away to college. Most people are like, why didn't you stay in California? But I wanted to basically kickstart my independence, kind of. And so that's one of the reasons I want to go away to college. And so when I went away, you have to learn everything on your own, kind of. You have to learn how to, feed yourself. You have to be able to get places. You're on your own schedule. No one's going to tell you to go to sleep or wake up or whatever. If you miss a class, you miss the class. So, I was definitely, very responsible growing up. So,
So give me an example of a struggle. Money was flowing naturally. Right?
Yeah, one big struggle. One big struggle was like paying for school. So, I mean, my parents put aside money for school for me to go to college, but I mean, it's very expensive to go to college, especially if you're going to a private institution. So there was, a lot of money that had to go to school. So they were giving me money for school, but I also had to take out loans. I had to find out extra money. I had to get scholarships. I got an academic scholarship, but I still had to apply for other scholarships. I had to look at I couldn't get grants because I wasn't in California, so that's money that I couldn't get there. And so it was really hard trying to go through that entire process. And Oakwood, there's a lot of stuff going on, and so it's like really hard to find the people to talk to and all that stuff. And so they helped me out, but a lot of the stuff, like after my first year, I guess you could say, I kind of had to like figure out who to talk to and like do a lot of stuff on my own. They were there for support, but
so despite all the support that they had, you really still had to kind of hit the ground running and really kind of push yourself to get these extra finances.
So they've always been there as like a support system, but they've been very like firm and like, like we'll give you the tools, but you got to make your own way. So I really enjoy that because it's made me the person I am now. But it was never just like, oh, well, we'll do it for you. It's just like, well, this is what you need to do. You need to go be able to do it. And so, yeah, some of the things I had to learn on my own. Some stuff I would just try to figure it out. If I couldn't figure it out, I'd ask my parents. But they weren't like holding my hand every step of the way.
So, naturally, since money was flowing, of course they just gave you a car, right?
Oh, no.
What's the rule in the Woodson household to get a car?
Yeah, so the whole thing is, like, if you get straight A's in all 4 years of high school, like, you get a car. That's what my dad did. My grandpa, he got my dad a car when he was younger. So they did that. But me, one semester, I didn't get it all A's. Like, I think I got like 1 C or something like that.
Were you like playing around or? You lost
Yeah,
your focus?
It was like, for me, I wouldn't do my homework. I would ace all my tests. Right. And I was playing basketball, volleyball, track. I was doing all sports, and I just didn't have the motivation. I was like, I'm passing all the tests, and my teacher's like, just turn the homework in. And the next semester, I turned all my grades around. It wasn't like I was ever doing bad. I ended with a 3.5 GPA. Right. It wasn't ever like I did bad. But so I didn't get the car, and so first year, no car. I actually ended up knowing a family friend. He had bought a car for his nephew. And he just bought it for him for like a couple weeks. Like I said, he was about to graduate, so he can drive around. Very terrible rinky-dink car. I'm talking, it was a 93 Nissan Sentra. It's pretty much a metal cage, honestly. And he said I can have the car, and so that's what the car I had in like my sophomore year. I ended up keeping that car for 2 years.
So you're at Oakwood, and you're finished with what degree?
Applied mathematics.
Applied mathematics. But then you decide that you're going to become an engineer.
Yeah, it starts from the beginning. Like you could do the track it's 3 years at Oakwood and then 2 years at UH. It's the 3-2 program they have. It ends up being more. Ends up being around 3 years because there's so many classes you have to take for mechanical engineering. But you don't have to go into engineering. There's some people who changed. When I first started, it was about maybe 15, 20 people that started at Oakwood that were all in the 3-2 program. And by the time by the year we were supposed to transfer to UAH, only me and another person decided to do the mechanical engineering thing. Wow. So.
Okay. Talk to me about the Oakwood experience. Everybody talks about this awesome Oakwood experience. It's traditionally black, college. What was that like?
So the Oakwood experience is all inclusive. There's good and bad. So the atmosphere, the people are amazing. Like, love the people. There's a lot of like, on-campus activities that happen. It's a lot of fun to be there. The spiritual environment's really good. I mean, we have lots of like AY, lots of concerts, lots of, just
AY,
religious,
Adventist Youth.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, lots of just religious programs. It's a lot of stuff there. The spiritual atmosphere is good. I was in DP, which is Dynamic Praise. It's a gospel choir. They have like 3 or 4 choirs on campus. So there's a lot of spiritual stuff goes on, a lot of
social activities.
Yeah,
that kind
social
of stuff.
activity.
But at the same time, you had to balance the social with making sure you're cutting the
Academics.
mustard academically.
Yeah. So for me, like I went to private school last year. I feel like it really prepared me for Oakwood. Classes weren't as hard. I mean, there was some stuff like the scheduling was the hardest part. Making your own schedule. Literally just being responsible for yourself. That was kind of difficult in the beginning. Once you get used to it, you make your classes easier your first year, so that way you can make that transition. But the thing that's harder is like some of the teachers. Like there are some teachers that, some of them might not speak as well good of English, or so sometimes it's difficult to talk to your advisors, and there's also not as much staff. So at Oakwood, you have a teacher that is also one of your advisors. So I would take my lesson plan or whatever to my advisor, and they'd write it off. But they have a lot of stuff going on with school. That sole job is to do advising. So I had to literally find my own schedule and figure out all the classes that I need to take for myself so that I can be able to graduate on time. Because if I didn't,
so there's no such thing as coasting to success. First
no,
off,
not at all.
You have to chase it.
Yeah.
You can't leave it up to the institution. You got to really take the bull by the horn, so to speak.
Success. I can't remember somebody that said it, but it's just, trying and failing so many times, but never giving up.
Okay. Give me a quick shout out to your mom first. Like, so what role has she played in inspiring you?
She's always just like been like a motivator for me. So like there were a lot of times where I'd call her, like especially when I went to like UH, I would be struggling with classes, and I'd be like, I can't do this, or it's too hard. I'm having all this trouble. Everybody gets stressed out when you're dealing with school, or you don't think you're going to be able to pass a test or a quiz, or you don't think you're going to be able to pass a class. I mean, it gets tough, even at Oakwood still, like whenever you're taking a test or something like that. And like never ever was she like wavering in like her confidence in me. She was always just like you can do it. You know that you're smart. You know that you can apply yourself. And like that has always just been like a big motivator for me to just, well, she can't just be wrong, I mean, I know she's your mom and she's gonna, input into you.
But she's keeping it real.
But she doesn't just say things just to say them. So that's always just been a big like, if anything, I'm going to prove her right, And so that's like been a driver for me.
This one's going out for mom. All right, now talk to me about your dad. What role has he played in inspiring you?
He's always just been like a super like cheerleader. Like he's always like, trying to find out like what's going on, and whenever something happens, he's just like, this is like so awesome, and he gets like really like excited, and we're kind of like the same person, honestly, and like in character. So it's just really cool to see like when I do something good that he really feeds into it, and it's just like, he's like really proud, and he like tells people about it, and it's just a cool thing to see, the interface.
He like gets into your experience.
Yeah, almost like it's his own experience.
It's his experience,
And that's a really cool thing, because then he's like living vicariously through you, so it motivates you to want to do more to get that reaction,
A lot of enthusiasm. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so now then you're going to transition to
UAH, so University of Alabama in Huntsville.
Okay, what was that like?
So anybody that's ever started that 3-2 program for like the mechanical engineering, or any engineering really, because there's more than just mechanical, they always say get through your first semester. Your first semester is the hardest, and that was not a lie at all. My first semester was.
Did you weed things away? Did you kind of let people know, hey, I'm going on the?
No, I mean I really kind of just jumped into it. Yeah, okay. I just figured, okay, it's probably going to be hard. I knew it was going to be difficult. I didn't really know what to do to get ready for it. Right. But once I got to UH, big culture shock. I mean, the class decorum, the types of class like quizzes, the grading scales, like what type of like assignments that we have, everything was different. Like the teachers and like the whole environment, it was a big culture shock for me. And so, like, My first semester, I really, really struggled, especially academically. I've never even struggled academically like that before. I think my first semester, I got like a 2.5 maybe. I was getting C's, and I was like happy, like excited because a C
I'm
was.
making it.
Yeah, I was like, I can't believe I passed that class. I thought there was no way I'd be able to pass.
So was that like the average that everybody else is getting, or this is just your personal experience?
Just well, it for like people at Oakwood, like when they do that transition, like that's kind of like what usually happens. But I didn't really know anybody at UH.
Okay.
So some of them yes, and some of them no. But I didn't really know that many people at UH. It was my first semester, and usually when you do freshman orientation at whatever school you're at, that's when you get to meet a lot of people. That's what happened at Oakwood. So when I transferred to UH, I'm just a transfer student, so I didn't know anybody my first semester there.
Gotcha. So you were brought to a point at some point where you're like starting to rethink this, like, man, I wonder if I can really cut this.
Oh yeah, there's so many times that I thought that. Like especially that first semester, I was like, I feel like I don't even know what I'm supposed to know. Do you see what I'm saying? So like when I first get there, you know, I'm studying, and when I was at Oakwood and all throughout school, straight A student. You know, I'm really stuff just comes easy to me. And when I was at UH, my first semester, I'd be studying, and I'm like, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, and I had to like relearn how to study. But I just felt like everybody knew all of this base information that I just didn't even know I was supposed to know. And I just felt like in the complete dark. And that was really hard for me. I mean, especially like learning the programs. I didn't even know how to like log on the computers when I first started. And I mean, I didn't even know where to get help or anything like that. And so it was really a big struggle that first year.
What kind of resources did you fall back on during that moment of destitution?
I mean, like I'm like a hard worker, so like I pretty much just would do as much as I can for as long as I can just to get where I need to go. And so I finally started asking help. I found some tutors. Like they have this thing called PASS when you're doing like your earlier courses where it's like peer assisted study sessions. And so basically people who've gotten A's in the class, they tutor other students. And so I started going to some of those. I didn't really know about them at first, but then when I started going to those, I started learning about the classworks and then learning how to study and learning stuff about the assignments. And then at the end of the semester, I kind of like turned my grades around to help me to pass. And then the next semester, I was, you know, more acclimated with the environment, you know.
Grades started picking up, I guess.
Yeah, every semester my GPA rose. The next semester I had a 3.5.
Nice.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a complete turnaround. And then, but I spent all those semesters trying to raise my GPA back up because for UH, if you want to get internships, which I didn't even know about until like after like the second year I was there, you need a 3.0 GPA. So it was a big struggle for me to get that 3.0 GPA.
Wow. Any shout outs to any of the particular professors at UAH who really helped you?
Yeah, there's a lot of different professors. I had a couple, like Dr. Armentrout, he was one, he did like this MA 100, like an intro class. And so it kind of, I learned a lot of the different stuff about
MA?
MAE, so it's mechanical and aerospace engineering. Nice. Like that's just like the number for the courses. Right. And he basically does an intro class for like engineering and tells you like about, you know, they have counselors for like academics. They also have counselors for like internships and co-ops where you can do like work one semester and then go to school the other semester. They also have like help you look for jobs, and then you have your advisor as well. So like all of those people, just talking to all of them really helped me to like turn it all around.
Take it up a notch. So you kind of ran into a brick wall initially at UAH, then you acclimate, muscle up, and then you start to take off.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how Boeing came on the scene.
So Boeing came onto the scene like fairly recently. I just graduated in May, 2015, and I did a conference actually in California. In Anaheim, it was for NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, and I did the conference in March, and I got the job pretty much like a week after. So pretty much like a month before I graduated. So it was like really rapid fire stuff happening. And this moment is like really, really when I started to like see God through a lot of stuff. So like I'd been struggling through, with my relationship with God as I was like in college, because you're on your own. That's when you start to really like build that relationship. And so I was struggling through a lot of stuff, And then around this conference, I really started to see like God turn a lot of stuff around. So
Like what? Yeah.
for me, like all throughout when I was at UH, I was trying to find internships. I was trying to get my GPA up. I was, looking for jobs, everything. And so everything in that last year, I'd been the summer before my senior year or my last year at UH. I was looking for internships all summer, couldn't find any. And then, I ended up, somebody that I knew, a friend of a friend, they emailed somebody about it, and somebody called me about an internship that I didn't even apply for.
Wow.
Which was like just the setup for all of the things that were to happen. So God turned that around, and I realized, it's hard to do that thing, where it's like, well, I have to do it myself, or I have to try and keep, I've always been learning to do it myself, but you gotta let God do some stuff. And so it's just weird where that level ground is, or that even ground. So I got the internship without even applying for it, and then I joined NSBE that last year, which helped me go to the conference. The conference happened to be in California, which is where I was trying to be at. And then also, when I went to the conference, I ended up seeing some people that I knew in Huntsville, Alabama, that I used to skate with. I roller skated for fun in Alabama, and one of the guys I knew that actually worked, he was an engineer. I knew that, but I didn't know he worked at Boeing. And I saw him at the conference, and he linked me up with some other people who linked me up with another person who all got my interview. It was just one after the other. Everything was just completely aligned. It was so fast. I didn't even understand how it was happening.
Wow.
And so that's what got me the interview. And I did my senior design project, which I was doing. We were designing a rocket. I was lead the design for that.
Say that one more time, brother.
I was doing, for my senior design project, we have a senior design project every, on your senior year.
Right.
And you can choose which one, and I chose rocket design. And so I was the lead design for that team.
How do you end up being the lead designer?
Well, in the beginning of the class, it's, everybody filters into different groups, and we're kind of just filtering out. And I already knew that I liked design because of one of my other courses where I was doing design work. And, I was like, well, I don't, mind being lead design. Nobody knows where everybody's role is at. And we didn't know anything about rockets when I first started. And then after I decided to take on lead design, I just asked a lot of questions, talked to my professors, finding out what I don't know. And they helped me through everything. And we built a 15-foot rocket that went supersonic. So.
No, literally?
Yes, literally. Yes. It went 10,000 feet in the air and supersonic. And it was for a research contract for NASA.
Wow.
Yeah, and so.
Now, don't go telling us anything. You're going to have to kill us for later, all right? No top secret stuff.
Yeah, and we built it from the ground up. I was working with a lot of people, and I learned a lot of stuff about rockets. And then, so that's what I spent talking to during my interviews. And that's, so, God aligned that for me to know a lot of the coursework, for me to get the interviews, and for me to talk to different people. And with Boeing, I did interview well. I thought the interview didn't go as well as the other ones, but I had done some other interviews before that, and so I was already ready for the Boeing interview, and everything just aligned. It just aligned perfectly. And my GPA was 3.0 that one semester that I needed, and Boeing looks for 3.0 GPA. It's like the minimum. So I got in for that, and it just turned everything around, and I just saw how God works all of these things to where before my last semester, I had no offers, and by the time I graduated, I had 4 or 5 offers just waiting.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, so here it is. You go through your college experience, you picked up that second degree. You're just tunneled visioned.
Yeah.
And now it's time to transition over into, professional life. Talk to me about some of the perks you're experiencing now.
Yeah. So Boeing is a big company. That's, I guess, pretty obvious to everybody. That's probably one of the only engineering companies that everybody knows exists. So they've taken care of everything in terms of my relocation and stuff. And they give me a personal person for everything. Wow. So I have a relocation agent. I've never experienced that before.
Relocation, that's putting words in my vocabulary.
Yeah, so that person, they call me, they get my number and everything, they call me, and they basically say, hey, when do you want to leave? When do you want to start work? And we'll set up the rest. They pay for my plane ticket. They ship all my stuff from wherever I'm at. They ship it to my new location. They give me a person to look for apartments or a house if I'm looking for a house. And this is all at no cost to me.
Wow.
And then when they fly me out there while my stuff is being shipped, They pay for me to stay in a hotel, and they also give me a rent-a-car, and then they also give me like a stipend for food and gas while I'm out there, like to transition to this entire thing. So my parents like were gonna come out to Seattle like right away when I was first there to help me get acclimated, but you know, they're just like, well, we're gonna wait till you get settled because everything's done for me, and it really takes all of the stress off of, you know, finding out where you're gonna go and where you're gonna live, and so that's like a big thing when people find out when they're moving. But that's all been taken care of for me. So
So you're getting a little taste of what the hard work was all about.
yeah, oh, definitely. So there's a lot of work to get to where I'm at now, but it's completely paid off, and I know that, you know, God is literally taking me through a lot of hardworking processes so that I can, you know, enjoy where I'm at now, and I don't think it's gonna stop. You know, it's a setup for what is to come, you know, and how I can see all the struggle that I went through to get me to where I'm at now.
So AJ, there is a young person, maybe even an old person right now who's going through it.
Oh, yeah.
They're having a difficult time and they're wondering if they should continue on. What message do you have for them?
So the one message that I could give to anybody is like seriously like trusting God and like talk to him, because it took me a long time to get that right, and I'm still not getting it right. It's a constant process, but like once you start to really like trust in God, like it just turns everything around. And it doesn't seem like it at first. Like you're gonna struggle. That's part of life. One of the pastors I knew, Pastor Snell in actually Alabama, he always says you're either going through something, coming out of something, or about to go into something. Wow. So like everybody struggles, but as long as you like trust in God, because I think he puts us through struggles so that we will call on him, and he can change everything, you know, and that's made a huge difference for me.
AJ, your story is inspirational.
Thank you.
The church was proud of you, man.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, man. Looking forward to the next phase of this.
Me too.
We'll have to have you come back and update us, all right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
God bless you, man.
All right, thanks.
I hope you enjoyed our first segment on Elders Corner, where we got to get a more intimate glimpse of AJ's journey as he went from, you know, being a college student, now he's a professional at Boeing. These are stories that show us how active God is in our lives. But the key thing is there are a lot of myths with how we should succeed in life. And what you can see is one of the main things is firm trust in God and don't give up. Tune in next time